On Solar Quotes TV this month, it's all Australian made. From testing Aussie solar panels in Alice Springs to saving you money with clever Aussie made monitoring. We also check out the world's biggest portable solar setup, as well as inverters and batteries made for Australian conditions. Hello and welcome to Solar Quotes TV, the Aussie made edition, where the only thing not made in Australia is, well, me. In this episode, we're looking at an array of solar products, ooh, that's a bad pun, being made in Australia by Australian companies. Shortly, we'll be taking you out to Tindo Solar's new factory in Mawson Lake, South Australia, which is currently being commissioned, where we'll be talking to owner Glenn Morelli. But first, let's take a look at Australia's incredible solar history. The modern solar panel was effectively invented in Australia by a team at the University of New South Wales, led by a Dr. Martin Green. Martin Green set up a small research team in Sydney in the early 80s with the aim of improving the efficiency of solar cells. That team took the efficiency of a solar cell up to 25%. Since the team was founded, it has held the solar cell efficiency record for 30 of the last 38 years. Also, in 1983, Martin Green personally invented the PERC solar cell. Now, this type of solar cell is currently found in 90% of panels produced today. The team is currently working on stacking silicon cells on top of each other, and they're aiming to get to 40% efficiency at the cell level. Insane. But not only did Martin Green do all that with the underlying solar technology, his research students went on to found and lead many of the multi-billion-dollar solar companies that nailed low-cost solar panel production in China, dropping the cost of solar panels over 95%. Without Martin Green and his researchers in Sydney, we wouldn't have the low-cost, high-performance solar today that companies like Tindo Solar can make for our homes. Now, as I promised, let's take a look at Tindo's brand new $5 million factory as we chat with Glenn Morelli. Hey Glenn, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
So, why the new factory? What was wrong with the old one?
Well, a couple of things really. We had a lease that was expiring and needed to move out for one reason. And then the opportunity came along to build a new line as well for the manufacturing process. The evolution of cells, moving from the old type cell technology to the M10 that we've currently taken up.
So the M10 cell that you're putting in these new solar panels, that's a bigger cell.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger and more efficient.
And then what are you doing about the trend, if you like? I think it's probably permanent, that it's hard to find a panel that's not half cut, and that's a completely different way of making panels.
Yeah, and that's another new feature of our line, so we can do half cut cells, and that'll be what we'll be rolling off as soon as we're commissioned.
So how much more throughput will you get in this factory compared to the old one?
In rough numbers, this is about treble the throughput from the old plant.
Wow, so and that's obviously based on demand from...
Yeah, so based on demand, since COVID, we've had huge demand. There's a real push, particularly from community, for Australian made.
And speaking about Australian made, one thing I'm hearing from some installers, which I personally disagree with, but this is the argument, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times. Those Tindo guys, they don't make solar panels, they assemble solar panels.
What we say to that is, if it was that easy, we wouldn't have invested about $5 million in a new line to start with.
Right.
We've got a lot of high-tech, state-of-the-art equipment here to do that process. Everything from starting with the cells, we've got a laser cut them for the half-cut cells.
Lasers! Right, lasers.
Yep. The whole line is automated.
Yep.
There'll be 8 people running the line, and every one of those people are really QA. So there'll be over 20 QA steps in the process, managed by 8 people running the line.
So people that think it's easy to make a solar panel, guys, just come to the factory and see that the effort that these guys put in into commissioning the line, into running the line, into keeping the QA on the line, and I know how hard this stuff is. So there's a solar panel shortage. Well, there's a shortage of everything at the moment, it seems, but that includes solar panels. Mm-hmm. How's that affected Tindo?
We've seen a huge spike in inquiry, particularly from resellers or wholesale avenues interstate, and from our average level inquiry to the last few months.
So more people are looking to buy us Australian made?
100%. I think consumer driven for Australian made during COVID, higher quality, the market's been educated that cheapest isn't necessarily best. The panel shortage in China is giving that a push along.
So you're currently commissioning this factory.
Yes.
You've built a huge stock of solar panels behind us to get you through. What's the future after that?
We hope to push into other states, attract more resellers for us, and really, expand rapidly through Australia with our brand new line that can make panels, as good as anybody in the world.
So thanks for letting us into the factory today, mate. I know you're busy commissioning a new factory. Once it's up and running, if people actually want to see what's involved in a solar panel, can they come and visit?
100%. We designed the factory floor to be able to run factory tours, so people can ring us up, book in a time, we'll give them a one-on-one guided tour through.
If you're watching this, you're probably a solar nerd. I'm a solar nerd and an ex-manufacturing engineer. It's just geek out heaven here. Come and visit it when it's up and running. It's awesome. For this month's field test, we head all the way up to Alice Springs, to the Desert Knowledge Australia's Solar Centre, to find out just how Tindo and a bunch of other panels are performing in one of the sunniest places on Earth. First, let's hear from Senior Project Manager Paul Rodden in Alice Springs.
So the Desert Knowledge Australia Solar Centre was originally built in 2008 as a federally funded project designed to demonstrate solar technology. And this site was really about bringing the most up-to-date information to the public by making not only the site available to people, but the data that was generated from all the systems available via a publicly facing website. It's all photovoltaics. It's a range of different technologies, and it's really about demonstrating those different technologies in this environment, which is a hot environment with high levels of irradiance. A really ideal place in many ways for solar.
Now, the oldest panels up in Alice are Aussie-made BP solar panels, made in the now sadly closed BP solar panel factory near the Olympic precinct in Homebush, Sydney. These beauties, with their original inverters, are approaching 14 years in the NT heat. They're still chugging along admirably, pumping out about 87% of their original energy output. But what about the Tindo panels? They are kicking ass. These Tindo panels, installed in 2016, are generating more energy per kilowatt installed than the other panels installed that year. Qcells, Hanwha, or Canadian Solar. The only silicon panels keeping up with Tindo are the more expensive SunPowers, which is impressive, as they were installed 5 years earlier in 2011. The only panels beating Tindo, as far as I can see, are ones I've never heard of. Solibro thin film panels, installed a year later in 2017. But if you want those on your roof, bad luck. I don't know of anyone that installs Solibro panels in Australia. So that's great to see. Australian-made panels from 2008 and 2016 surviving and thriving in the Aussie outback. If they can survive there, they should do just fine on your roof. For our installer profile this month, we're chatting to Melbourne company Essential Solar about their business and why the inverter of choice for many of their installations is the Victorian-made Mill Solar Eclipse inverter.
G'day, my name is David Bruce from Essential Solar. So Finn, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Aussie-made products for the solar industry. Today, I'd like to talk about the Eclipse inverter by Mill Solar. This inverter was designed and developed by a company called Mill Systems, who are based in Footscray, Victoria. Mill Systems' business has been to design power electronic product for the Australian Defence Force. So they're very much used to designing for harsh environments. Typically the Australian environment can be a lot hotter than it is in Europe and especially in China too. We love it. We believe that there is a long future for this inverter. It's a very well designed product. It's got this fantastic heatsink on the front, which does a couple of things. One is it removes the need for a fan. So it takes away that noise that we get from fanned inverters, giving us a bit of flexibility to install it in a variety of different places, including inside a home. But the other thing about having such a good heatsink on there is that it allows the internal components to run at a much lower temperature and increase the reliability. I've got a great deal of confidence in this company. They know what they're doing. We've been installing this inverter now for about 3 years. And up until now, we haven't had a single product failure, which is quite remarkable. So here's an interesting question. Why then doesn't everybody want to buy this inverter? The reason for that is because most of the Australian industry doesn't offer this inverter for sale. And they don't offer it for sale because it doesn't have a great marketing push behind it. So our customers aren't aware of it. And that can be quite difficult. It can be quite difficult going to a customer and explaining to them the benefits of something that they've never heard of. So much of the industry prefers not to even bother and just to run with these well-known brands that are out there. At Essential Solar, we prefer to actually go out and offer the customer something that we think is right for them. And so I will give this to our sales team and we will promote that as being Australian made. And not because for any charitable reason. We don't want to promote Mill Solar just because they're made in Australia. We want to promote it because it's a very reliable inverter. It's got fantastic support. They're here for the long term. And the specifications and the performance is just perfect for Australia. So when Mill Solar began the development of this product, they wanted to aim at the high end. So they aimed at the specifications that you would tend to see from a European inverter, Fronius and SMA. And the price reflects that as well. It's around about the same price as those European inverters. It's a single phase inverter. It's got higher input voltage range, so it gives us flexibility for design, which is fantastic. They've set up their manufacturing in Footscray, and they've done that deliberately so that they can support the Australian market. Not just this year, not just for the next few years, but to do this for the long term. And I think that's a very exciting thing and a very important thing for the solar industry in this country.
For this month's Solar Tech, we're focusing on 5B Maverick, the flagship solar product for Sydney tech innovator 5B. And specifically, we're looking at how SA Water in South Australia is using the world-leading technology to power its Happy Valley water treatment plant, which supplies 40% of Adelaide's drinking water.
Hello, I'm Nicola Murphy and I'd like to tell you about the solar installation that we've built at the Happy Valley Reservoir, where we've installed a very interesting system called the 5B Maverick. The panels on that system are just the same as the 367,000 panels we've installed across the whole of the state, but they're mounted a little bit differently on a re-deployable system. So the Maverick, or the 5B Maverick system, 5B are an Australian manufacturer, so they've designed that racking system here in Australia. So those panels are fully movable. We were able to bring in the panels that had been previously mounted onto a racking system, bring them on the back of a truck and roll them out in a day. So that system at Happy Valley is around 30,000 panels. This currently is the world's largest installation of this type of racking system and generates just about 16,000 megawatt hours of energy generation per annum. And that's more than double than that plant at Happy Valley actually uses, which is great because we can export any excess generation that we make there to the grid, or we can store it on some of the batteries that we've got on that site. We've installed around 33 sites across the state, from small rooftop systems up to really massive solar farms. And they're pretty impressive because you stand at one end of the paddock, or you can see our row upon row upon row of solar panels. And so that would take us up to a 32 megawatt system. The challenge to keep our massive $86 million a year electricity bill as low and as stable as possible doesn't stop. And so we will continue to find new and innovative ways to supply that electricity to ourselves and export any excess.
Now, to our man Ned, who has the job of checking the hundreds of reviews that come through our website every week. This month, Ned is looking at a review for Australian battery manufacturer PowerPlus Energy. Ned, where the hell are you this week, mate?
Bloody beautiful. G'day everyone, this is Ned here for my Australian-made review of the month, with an Australian-made beer, an Australian-made hat, and the review's about an Australian-made battery. It's from Gareth, and it goes like this. Superb standalone system, great performance. On my off-grid home, I've had 3 PowerPlus Eco batteries and 5.5 LG Neon panels running on Victron's Easy Solar for 4 months now. It's great to have an Australian-made energy product that's self-managing, simple to install, and performs as expected. No issues at all, and it's all remotely monitored via Victron's VRM. So after I saw this review, it was written back in 2020, I contacted Gareth, and he let me know there were some small issues, but both the manufacturer of the batteries and the company that installed it have come back out and fixed everything up post-haste. It just goes to show that customer service is invaluable. Gareth gave that 5 stars. Again, that's the PowerPlus battery, installed by SolarWise in New South Wales. The website for PowerPlus is powerplusenergy.com.au if you want to check it out. And there you go, there's my Australian-made review of the month. I'll see you guys next time.
If you want to keep Ned busy, please go to solarquotes.com.au and leave us a review for your installation or for any solar product you've used. For Ask Finn this month, I'm going to answer a question that I get asked all the time. I'm buying a solar system. I'm getting consumption monitoring anyway. Should I go the extra mile and get a premium SolarAnalytics package, which is software made in Australia in Redfern, Sydney, by the company SolarAnalytics? Now, if you want to add SolarAnalytics to your system, it's quite a big ask at the moment because it's up to $600 added to the cost of the solar system. And if you've already got good monitoring, why would you want SolarAnalytics on top? I'll give you 2 good reasons. Number 1, SolarAnalytics have spent years perfecting the algorithms that tell you if your solar system is running properly. They'll give you a percentage figure and it will spot stuff that's going wrong with your system before almost anyone else knows about it. I'll give you an example. I've got a friend, they had a Fronia system on their roof, they had SolarAnalytics, and SolarAnalytics started pinging them. It said, there's a problem with the system, it's running at about 85% and it seems to be getting worse. We called up the installer. The installer was a good guy who was referred through Solar Quotes. He came straight round. He had a look, one of the MC4 connectors had a problem with it and it was melting. So that could have been quite nasty if it hadn't been picked up on. So SolarAnalytics can spot issues early. The other thing that's just come out, I've been asking them to do for ages. They've got a thing called Plan Optimizer. Now this is getting more and more important as the electricity tariffs become more complicated. We're getting demand tariff, we're getting time of use tariff, we're getting solar sponge tariffs. What SolarAnalytics can do now is it can look at your actual energy data and it can compare that with all the electricity plans in Australia and can say, hey, this is absolutely the cheapest plan for you based on the actual amount of electricity you import and export. And they did a survey of a bunch of customers and the average person was saving $400 a year. And there's another thing about SolarAnalytics that's making it even more compelling. Depending on what inverter you've got, you don't even have to buy the expensive SolarAnalytics hardware anymore. You can actually just buy the software, which is a lot cheaper, and they're slowly integrating with all the big inverter manufacturers. They've already got there with SunGrow, they've got that with Fronius, and it's confidential, but I'm pretty confident there's other big inverter manufacturers that are going to be getting on board soon. So, should you buy SolarAnalytics if you've already got monitoring? I reckon yes. Many installers disagree with me, but I've got it on 2 of my systems and it's been invaluable. I love it. You don't look at it every day. In fact, you don't look at it at all after a while, but that's not why you buy it. You buy it because it sends you an email saying, hey, there's a problem with your system. Or, hey, you could be on a cheaper electricity plan.
Hey, just got back from Queensland.
Well, I'm glad we got enough subscribers to be able to afford to pay that ticket.
I brought you some nice Darling Downs bread for you.
What's special about this Darling Downs bread?
Oh, it's Australian made, and so therefore it's the best.
Oh, okay.
So you just came from Tindo Solar?
Yep, it's about a 12-kilometre run.
Uh-huh, so you'll agree Australian made is the best?
Australian beer.
Asahi, that's Japanese?
It's brewed and made in Australia.
Aha.
That beer is about as Japanese as a Leapton solar panel. So this episode, Ronald, as you know, is all about Australian made.
That's right.
What do you think about Australian made?
It's great. We make lots of things in Australia. We export them overseas. We feed many people in other countries who don't have enough room to grow their own food. We're the world's second, maybe, exporter of beef. We're the 3rd largest exporter of wheat. all these exports supporting everyday Australians, giving them work, livelihoods, income. It's great. So the more stuff we make in Australia, more stuff we can export, more neat stuff we can get from overseas.
So how important is it when you're buying solar to insist on it as much as possible being Australian made?
It's not important. I mean, if you want an Australian made solar panel, yes, insist on that. But if you don't want an Australian made solar panel, there's no particular need to insist on one.
But you're putting money into the local economy.
Well, yeah, but we export goods to overseas, and then we import goods from overseas, including solar panels. And if we didn't import anything, we couldn't export anything. So a lot of people get very upset when I say it doesn't matter if you buy products from overseas. They have a strong gut reaction that, oh no, it's bad for Australia's economy, it's bad for our industries to buy overseas products. So I will explain why it's not a problem by getting you to pretend to be a foreign country. So I bought you this nice hat.
Dankeschön.
We'll say you come from Stalingrad. So I will get a solar panel for you to sell to me. Hello, comrade.
Hello.
I see your country produces beautiful solar panels. Can I have one, please?
Show me the money.
Oh, okay. Well, I can give you Australian dollars. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's money.
Oh, cool.
$35.
It's only a small panel.
$10 a watt. You're on.
Cool. Yay! Thank you. Now, what are you going to do with those Australian dollars in Stalinland?
I will buy vodka.
Okay, but does the bottle-o accept Australian dollars?
No.
So what are you going to do with them?
I am going to change them.
Yeah. And who are you going to change them with?
Bank of Stalingrad.
Right. And what does the bank do with them?
I've never thought about this.
Ah, right. So the bank's just a middleman. You give them the Australian dollars, they give you the rubles, and then those dollars will be given to sell to a Russian who wants to buy Australian goods. So turn your hat round sideways. I know you Russians are masochists. You'd like some delicious Vegemite, wouldn't you?
The only thing that tastes worse than the vodka.
Then borscht, yes. Only $35. Oh, cool. Easy. You get delicious Vegemite for... And we get our Australian dollars back. Circular trade. So every dollar which goes overseas is a dollar that comes back to Australia.
I see what you did there. I've honestly never thought about it like that.
Yeah, if you are Tindo, it's definitely good if you buy Australian-made solar panels, since they're the only game in town if you want reliable ones with a track record.
So what do you say to the many commenters we get, mostly on Facebook, that say, I'm not buying that Chinese shit?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't buy Chinese shit. You should buy Chinese quality panels.
So there you have it. International Economics 101. Thanks to Mr. Ronald Brackles. So there you have it. Solar Quotes TV, episode 11, the Australia-made edition, with Ronald Brackles, who's a lot more Australian than me, born in the UK to a South African dad and a Finnish mum, and now living in Australia. So if you want to buy Australian-made, that's great. Go for it. If you want to buy Australian-made solar, you've got a great choice now. You've got panels made in Australia, you've got inverters made in Australia, you've got analytics programmed in Australia. You can even get racking made in Australia. You can get most of the solar system from components that are made in Australia. And if you want to pay a bit more for Australian, more power to you. I absolutely encourage that. But it's not that simple, as Ronald said. If you haven't got the budget for Australian, because it is generally a little more expensive, don't stress. You can still get really good gear from overseas, and it doesn't make that much difference on a macroeconomic level. Was that right, Ronald?
That's right.
So don't stress. The most important thing is, in my opinion, and I hope Ronald agrees, is that if you own a roof, you stick solar on it so you can renewably power your home, and you can contribute to Australia being an absolute world leader in rooftop solar. We've just gone through a few days where 100% of demand was covered by solar. That's amazing. We're leading the world in terms of gigawatt scale grids, Long may it continue, whether it's Australian made, Chinese made, Korean made. Now, obviously, there's a lot more stuff made in Australia that's solar related than we can cover in one episode. So if we've missed anything that's made in Australia that's a particular favourite of yours, let us know in the comments and we may be able to look at it in the future. So thanks for watching. I can't believe this is the 11th episode. We started back in January. We're not going to see you again before Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.